Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new feature here on the Hornet Talk podcast. Myself, George, and a special guest each week will be reviewing our upcoming game for the week. Now, before I introduce our first special guest for the first time, I introduce my brilliant co-host, George Frikish. So, good evening, George. How are you?
Good evening, Liam. It's always good to be starting up a new little thing like this, just me and you. And obviously, this week we do have Math in from Three Peeps in a Pod.
Yeah, brilliant news. Now, I'm delighted, as George just mentioned, to welcome fellow podcaster Matt from Three Peeps in a Pod. Good evening, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Liam. How are you, mate? How are you, George?
I'm really good, thank you, mate. Hoping that we win on Saturday, but honestly, I wouldn't be that bothered because we need to focus on the league. But
yeah, I think it's one of those, isn't it? You want to focus on the league, and obviously with you being top six now. But I also think a cup run keeps the confidence going for us in particular. Give a little bit of extra revenue if you get a good draw. So, I'm hoping we field a strong side in. We come through it, but I know it'd be a tough game.
yeah, absolutely. Now, moving on then, getting into it. Obviously, Bristol have had a bit of a I'd say a little bit of a dip in late, obviously dropping out of the playoffs and us coming into the playoffs. But how do you expect your side to perform on Saturday after coming off a loss at Preston? How do you reckon you're going to perform on Saturday?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, we had good results against Middlesbrough at home, and then West Bromwich Albion away. Then we went to Millwall and played really, really well. And I'm still kind of scratching my head now as to how we actually came away with nothing, let alone not winning the game. We thumped Portsmouth on New Year's Day, but Portsmouth had a number of key injuries. And really just rolled over. So it was a bit of a false, not a false score, but we knew that they weren't really at the races. And then Preston came in and was so well organised, and we just really struggled to break them down. So it is a little bit. We described it after the Preston game. When with the opening brief for the podcast, it is a little bit like Forrest Gump and the box of chocolates. You just don't know what you're going to get from us at the moment. So I honestly, I don't know what sort of performance we'll put in. I think we'll field a strong side in. The head coach Gerard Struber has sort of said as much, but really I couldn't tell you. I think it will be goals change games. If we get the first goal, then we could go on and win the game. I'm not going to say comfortably, but maybe a sort of a 2-0. But if we concede first, we haven't picked up many points, many wins from coming from behind. So yeah, I honestly don't know, Liam and George, what to expect really.
So, in terms of Bristol's FA Cup history, as far as only getting to the fifth round, what would it mean to you to get an amazing cup run and maybe even succeed that and get an amazing Premier League away day like a Liverpool or a Man City?
Yeah, I will pick you both up on something. It's Bristol City, because there are two clubs in Bristol.
No,
that's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. We even have ex-players who refer to Bristol, but it is Bristol City. And actually, we did reach the cup final, but it was way back in 1909, so even before I was born. So you're right. Our history in the FA Cup hasn't been great of late. We've tended to do better in the League Cup. But yeah, for me, I'd love to see us get a cup run. You never want it to be at the expense of the league position. And also you never want to be at you get to the final and get a hammer in, which, I know other teams have experienced.
Yep. Us.
So yeah, I let's be honest. I'd love to get through against you, and I would love to draw a Premier League team. I've never been to the Emirates to watch Bristol City. Never been to the new Everton ground or the new Spurs ground. So that would be a dream for me to get through and draw one of them away. But yeah, it's you just want to put in a good performance, and if we put in a good performance, then we've got every chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the same with Watford. Like we would absolutely love a very good FA Cup tie. Obviously, same with you guys, but it's always very nice to have a good cup tie, as it's always a good and fun day out doing an away day, and yeah, it's just always good. But if it comes at the cost of your league position, like what we saw when we went to the FA Cup final, like we were doing incredibly well. Then we started to slow down a bit after we got to the final.
Focusing on the cup, definitely.
Yeah, I don't think teams outside of the Championship appreciate just how tough a league it is, and also just how many games you play. And you know, I know all the teams play the same amount of games, but if you then add a cup run into it, then it really doesn't. And you know, I don't know what your squad size is like, but we've got a pretty thin squad. We're hoping
that was the complete opposite.
Is it? Yeah, we've got a pretty thin squad with injuries, youngsters. We're hoping that we'll bring in a couple within the January transfer window, but clearly some of those will be way before this game, and may even be cup tied and unable to play. But yeah, I was saying to Liam off air before we joined, it will be really interesting to see the side that we put out.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll be interesting for us. Obviously, me and George go through our predicted lineups and how we think we'll line up later on. But obviously, Javi's got a good record in that FA Cup, getting us to the final the last time he was our manager. So I have a weird feeling that he might go strong, but it's a bit of a difficult one. Anyway, I just want to know your view on Gerhard Struber, obviously joining you in the summer after Liam Manning departed. How do you rate him as a manager, and how do you think his tactical style is?
I love him. I mean, I've been watching Bristol City long before you two boys were born, and probably even before your dads and your mums were born. But yeah, he's a really popular head coach. He's very engaging. We were fortunate at the start of the season, in the pre-season, the club invite the podcasts to the stadium or to the training centre, the high performance centre, and we got to meet him. And that was obviously before a ball had been kicked. And immediately you just felt he was so engaging. You know, listening to him speak, and everything that I'd read about his time at Barnsley when he was Barnsley's manager, and then what you sort of read with Red Bulls, and then Cologne in Germany, or Köln in Germany. Players talked about running through brick walls for him, and he has that mentality. The way that he talks about his boys, he often refers in post-match about his boys and how well they've done. So yeah, I think you'd be hard pushed to find a Bristol City fan that doesn't like him. You will still find Bristol City fans that are questioning him from a tactic point of view. Preston was a good example the weekend. We opted to bring on Sam Morsey, a midfielder, and kept the other two midfielders in Adam Randall and Jason Knight on. And it just felt the shape was slightly wrong. We took off the 2 10s in Scott Twine and Anis Mehmeti at the same time. So, yeah, there are. I personally wouldn't be as strong to say there are question marks about his tactics, because I do like a lot of what he does. He will go for it in games. You know, he's not been afraid to make changes at half time. It's just like, I suppose, with every football fan, with every head coach or manager, you look at a game that you're not winning and you think, actually, could he have done this? Could he have done that? If it had come off, no one seems to question it. It's only when things don't come off that you question his tactics. But personally, I absolutely love him. I love listening to him, and I don't know if it will be this season, but I do think if we stick with him and if we back him, then I do think we've got a really bright future with him.
Yeah, definitely. Seems like a really good manager.
I'd
heard of him before, obviously, like you said, with his time at Barnsley. He seems a pretty good manager, and honestly, I wouldn't have been mad if he had been our manager when we sat Cleverly in the summer. Like, honestly, I think he's a brilliant manager, and he's got some good tactics up his sleeve, definitely.
Yeah, like I said, he's really personable, and you can see the players really like him. And I think that at the end of the day, if your players don't buy into it, you're not going to get the results. It's interesting because when you sacked Tom Cleverley, his name was heavily linked with our job before Struber got it, and I was immediately, no, I'm not having that at all, because I thought he should have done a far better job with you than he did. And then Struber's name was being linked for quite a while. And we weren't, a lot of Bristol City fans weren't sure, because of he'd been at Barnsley for a while, but then had gone overseas. But as soon as he came in, and as soon as he started talking, he immediately sort of got involved within the city. He was having photos in the town with coffee sellers on the street and things like that. So and it's little things like that as fans you
Building
like
a
to see.
connection.
Yeah, exactly that, Liam. He's built that connection, but that will only last for so long. You do have to get the results in. We're what, 10th in the league at the moment, albeit we're still within touching distance of the playoffs. And it's a long old season, and it's interesting because Liam Manning got us into the playoffs last year, but Liam Manning, his style of football wasn't hugely popular. And whilst I absolutely wanted him to stay, when he left, I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah.
Because a bit like Norwich found it was a lot of sideways, backwards football, whereas Struber he talks about himself. His football is chaos. He likes to play a high press, and it's very sort of chaotic at times. So, yeah, I think, as I say, I do really rate him.
Yeah,
seems
absolutely.
like very attractive football.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I think that's the one thing. Even in games, there's probably been 2 games, and maybe Saturday we were still in the game, and we dominated sort of possession, but I never felt we were going to get anything out of it, because I thought, I don't know if you've played Preston recently, but they were so well organised. They were a really good side. I think they might surprise a few. It would not surprise me to see Preston in the playoffs at the end of the season.
No, it wouldn't
because
surprise me.
He's got them
They've got a
really
good
well
manager,
organised.
very good
Yeah,
manager.
he is. Heckingbottom's a good manager, but Stoke away was probably the only game we've not been in. We've played and beaten Middlesbrough. We were in the game with Coventry. Obviously, we got a good draw away at your ground. So yeah, it will be interesting to see. I really, as I say, I couldn't call it Saturday, because again, you get a situation where, even from a playing point of view, they might sort of get to the stage and think, do you know what? Actually, we're behind, but it's the cup. The league is the important one, and it is. There's no 2 ways about it. You boys have been lucky. You've been in the Premier League. We haven't. We've ironically, at the New Year's Day game against Portsmouth, we had an event celebrating or acknowledging, whichever word you want to use, but the last group of players to get us to the first division, which was back in '76. So that's 50 years since we made it to the top flight, and we were only in the top flight for 4 divisions. You've had a lot better history than that. So we're desperate to get in the Premier League. We really are.
Yeah. So we've got another question regarding Scott Twine and Anis Mehmeti. So do you think that they will have a key part in your team on Saturday?
It will be interesting. Both of them got withdrawn against Preston. Anis Mehmeti is out of contract at the end of this season, and despite, according to the club, being made a very good offer, there isn't any indication yet that he intends to sign. I think most Bristol City fans expect him to leave in the summer. It may depend if an offer comes in January, and Anis sort of says he's got no intention of signing. We may even look to sort of cash in January. I hope we don't, because Anis Mehmeti is a really big player for us. When he was signed, Nigel Pearson, who obviously has managed both clubs, Nigel described him as a maverick, and he is that type of player. But he never held a first team spot down under Nigel Pearson or under Liam Manning. It's only since Gerard Struber's come in. I think he's played in every league game. He started every league game. So he's been a big player for us. He's got I think 8 goals and 7 assists.
Yeah.
And I would expect him to start on Saturday. Scott Twine, and I know Scott scored that fantastic free kick up at Vicarage Road, and he's done that a number of times this season and throughout his career. I think he's actually scored the most direct free kicks of anybody, and that includes your Beckhams and your James Ward-Prowses, etc. So his technique is fabulous. His work rate had been questioned previously, but I think this season he really is putting in the work as well. He probably doesn't create enough or score enough from open play with the ability that he's got. Technically, he's probably or arguably our best player, but he would be the one I wouldn't be surprised to see rested on Saturday. But we don't really have much of an option in the 10. If he decides to rest him, he may end up putting Yu Hirakawa, our Japanese lad, in there, because we've just let Josh Stokes, one of our youngsters, go out on loan to Stockport for the rest of the season. Max Bird, who's another one who could play in the 10. Max is injured, so he may very well stick with both. Yeah, he may very well stick with both. And if they play, they'll have a big part to play, George.
Yeah, that would be a very scary, very 2 players, and obviously Sinclair Armstrong's been playing for you quite recently, because I've seen he started the previous game.
Yeah, he has. Sinclair's it's a strange one, really. So we signed him from Queen's Park Rangers last year. Again, under Liam Manning, he was in and out of the team. He scored a couple of goals early on and then really struggled, and then didn't score again until we played Plymouth. This season, he started off and again wasn't featuring really much more than as a substitute. And then we had a fans forum at the club back in, I want to say, November. And Brian Tinian, our technical director, talked about Sinclair Armstrong. He talked about us needing to sign a centre forward in January. And he talked about Sinclair Armstrong and our other striker, Fali Miulu, who's actually out injured at the moment. But basically said if they didn't perform, then we would be looking to offload them in January. And almost immediately after that, the kind of next game or the game after, Sinclair kicked into gear, and it seems a real attitude change. And he's a proper handful. He really is. He scored a couple of goals against Portsmouth. He missed a good chance on Saturday against Preston, and I think that's the thing with Sinclair. He's not a natural goal scorer, so he will miss chances that he should really score. And he's only scored, I think, sort of 3 goals in the last 18 months. But his performance has been very much on an upward trajectory. And it will be interesting. He started against Preston, which surprised a few people, even though he scored 2 against Portsmouth, because it was Emil Rees's ex-team or last team. A lot of people thought Emil Rees would start, but he didn't. He opted for Sinclair. He has actually played the 2 of them at times, but he does favour a 3-4-2-1. So it will be interesting to see who he goes with. I think he might surprise us. We've got Sam Bell, who's an academy product who we loaned to Wickham at the start of the season, and we've just recalled. I don't think Sam is cup tied, so it may very well be that Sam gets a nod, and he might start Sam with one of them. But if he plays the 1, I think he may go with Emil Rees starting and Sinclair coming on as an impact.
So one of our final questions is, what is the lineup that you predict Bristol City to start with?
I think he will go with a 3-4-2-1. I expect him to play Max O'Leary in goal. So we've got an on-loan goalkeeper from Manchester United, Radek Vitek, who would have played.
I liked him against.
He would have played in November, and he's brilliant. I mean, he was excellent against you. He made some really good saves. But Radek's been injured with a knee injury. We actually think this game will be too soon. He may be back for the league game against Oxford the week later. So I think it will be Max O'Leary that starts in goal. If it's not Max, it's likely to be Joe Lumley. But I think it will be Max. I think we'll probably play the three sort of centre halves, and that's likely to be Rob Dickie in the middle. I would expect it to be Zach Viner, and it may be Rob Atkinson as well if he plays the three. He might change that because Rob Atkinson's come back from an injury, so he's played Zach in the left, Dickie in the middle, and George Tanner on the right. But I think it will be a three. So I think he will go Zach Viner, Rob Dickie, and Rob Atkinson. Our right wing back will be Ross McCrory, I'm sure, a Scottish international. Left wing back will either be Neto Borges, who's on loan from Middlesbrough, and they may not want him cup tied, so that might not be the case. And if it isn't, then it will be Cam Pring, one of our academy lads. He's no longer a lad now, but so I expect it to be Cam Pring. In the middle, I fully expect it to be Jason Knight and Adam Randall. And he then sort of plays a kind of 2 10s in Mehmeti and Twine. And then up front, as I say, I think it will likely be Emil Rees. So if that's 11, and excuse the maths, but I think that will probably be our lineup. But he may surprise us. He may, as I say, Sam Bell may feature. He may decide to go with two up top and not have the 2 10s. But that tends to have been what the sort of lineup that he's gone with. We don't have many options in terms of who could come in because of injuries. He might, off the bench, as I say, Yu Hirakawa may come in. He might prefer to play Yu at right wing back rather than the Ross McCrory, even though really Yu's more of a winger than a wing back. And yeah, other than that, I don't see there being too many changes.
Yeah, brilliant. One more quick question then. I've seen a few rumours circulating online. I don't know if they're completely true, but obviously I've seen you're linked with a former player of ours who's been at our place twice, and that is Emmanuel Dennis. I've seen circulating around. Would you take Emmanuel Dennis?
So I've not seen. I mean, it's been. I've seen it online, rumored. I don't personally think there's anything in it. I liked him. Was he at Forest as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I did like him. I don't know where he's been of late and kind of how he's shaping up of late.
Yeah, he hasn't had a club for a while.
Yeah, I mean, but the signings we make in January need to be signings that can come in and literally be first names on the team sheet. There's talk of us looking at, and I never get his name pronounced correctly, but Borgzoin at Middlesbrough. So he's one. There you go. See, I told you I could get it right. he's one that is being heavily linked, and also George Earthy, who we had on loan from West Ham last season. I think George is out of contract at West Ham in the summer, albeit I think they would offer him something because he's an academy player, but he's another one that's been linked. So yeah, I don't think there's anything in the Emmanuel Dennis one. But again, you know, Radek Vitek coming from Man United was a complete surprise. No one saw that one coming. So I'm hoping that Struber might surprise us all, and with his contacts, there may be players that we kind of look at and go, "Wow, how have we got him?" So
yeah, absolutely. Now, moving on, then, me and George are going to share our predicted lineups and how we think we're going to line up.
Okay.
So I will get George's up now, and I will let George take you through it and tell us why he wants to start with that. So let me just scroll up. George, over to you.
Hold on, is my camera frozen? Sorry.
Oh, hold on. Here we go. Get into our predicted lineups then. So starting with George. George, fire away.
So in goal, I will have Nathan Baxter in goal, and then At fullback, I will have James Morris as he seeks for game time. At
Yeah.
right back, I'll put James Abankwah, as we did see against Birmingham due to Jeremy Ngakie's thigh injury. And in the centre-half position, I will put Kevin Keben and Foremost Mendy, as we hope to see a bit of Foremost due to Max Lane leaving and joining Manchester City, as in him being recalled, sorry. And then on the right wing, I will play Musa Sissoko. On the left, Tom Ince, due to obviously him scoring a hat-trick against Birmingham. And down the middle, I will put Nampalys Mendy for experience. And also I'll put Hector Cipriano, as he is a normal starter for us at this point. Then my two strikers in this 4-4-2 formation, I will play Nestori Irankunda for the burst of pace and Vivaldo Semedo, as he's starting to get back into form. And Liam, I'll pass over to you now.
Yeah, so I'll get into my predicted lineup. So I'll explain it bit by bit. So in goal, obviously Nathan Baxter has been out of the team of late. He is our backup goalkeeper, and I think that he'll get the nod over Selvik this weekend. Then at centre back, I've gone for Foremost Mendy, obviously, like you touched upon, George. Max Lane is a big blow going back to Manchester City, and I've seen from Fabrizio Romano that he's expected to start tonight against Brighton. So fair play to him, and I'm looking forward to seeing him. Then at centre back, obviously Kevin Keben dropped out of the team a little bit of late. He didn't really partner. He had a good start to the season and didn't really partner well with Matty Pollock. And then at right back, obviously, we've got injuries. So I've gone with James Abankwah at right back over Jeremy Ngakia. And then at left back, struggling for games, and I think he deserves a game, and give him a go. James Morris, obviously an academy product, and I have a signed shirt of him. Thank you, WDA18, for that from the raffle. He's a young left back. He's struggled for minutes over the past few seasons. He got good minutes under Tom Cleverley because Tom Cleverley likes the youth, and I think that he'll be a really good addition to the side. Then at CDM, I have gone for Leo Ramirez Espan, obviously another academy product. I think we should potentially give them a go. Ramirez Espan obviously was on loan at Yeovil, but we recalled him after Edo Kayembe went to AFCON. And then left midfield, I've gone for Amin Nabizada. We saw a bit of him last season under Tom Cleverley, a bright young prospect on the left, and I want to see more of him. So I'm quite excited to see how he performs. And then at the cam role, I have gone for Nestori Irankunda. Obviously, he's been a prominent coming off the bench of late. He's been really, really solid. I'm really, really happy for him. I think he's going to do well. And then obviously Edo Kayembe. Hopefully, he might be back for AFCON, and if he is back from AFCON, if he's not too jet lagged, I think that he'll get the nod in the game. And Musa Sissoko, obviously, was going to start against Hull before our game get postponed, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him today. And then up top, I have gone for Vivaldo Semedo, obviously coming off the bench a lot recently. He's been bright, he's been solid, he's been adding a little of energy to our side, and I think Gracia could look to give him a go today on Saturday. So I really think it could be a really good addition, and I hope to see him play on Saturday because he would cause Bristol City a lot of problems, and I think he's a really young, talented striker. And yeah, I think he's definitely got lots of potential. So that is our predicted lineups done then. So that is pretty much everything for today's episode. So I want to say a big thank you to Matt Withers from Free Pizza and a Podcast for coming on this evening. Thank you very much, mate.
Yes, thank you.
Absolute pleasure, Liam. Thank you, George. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Thank you. And I know George is coming. Are you looking to come, Liam, on Saturday?
Unfortunately, I can't come on Saturday,
No?
but I'm hoping to come potentially to the reverse fixture. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
all right.
Yeah,
well,
I would love to.
I'll look out for the Moroccan flag then, George.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you again for Matt Withers joining us from Free Pizza and a Podcast. And
Pleasure.
Thank you, George, for joining me this evening. We've been lucky to have you again, brilliant co-host. And we will hopefully be back next week where we'll be previewing our game against Millwall at home at the Vic back in the Championship, a big, big game. So a big thanks everybody, and hopefully the Hornets get a win, but Math will be hoping that Bristol City get the win. But come on, you
Absolutely.
Horns.